Okay, next we are a little bit behind on a time certain, which is hopefully Senator Fillmore's okay with it. Item number 3 is a resolution. Senator Fillmore, are you on?
I am on. Can you hear me?
Welcome, Senator. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. I see that you've got the draft of this proposed legislation before you, and I say legislation. It's a resolution. As we were nearing the end of this very odd school year and this very circumstance, working with legislative leadership and the superintendency at the State Board of Education, we just wanted to be able to do something to recognize the graduates of the class of 2020 who will be graduating in a circumstance unlike any that has ever been seen before. So we've crafted this resolution that we intend to present to the full legislature in a special session next week. And at the superintendent's request, we're here presenting that to the board to get your feedback and hopefully to be able to get your endorsement. It's a fairly simple resolution that just outlines some of the challenges that schools and students have faced over the last several months, and particularly with regard to seniors in the class of 2020, all of the cultural and personal milestones that just are marked in a traditional way. That they don't get to go to senior prom, they don't have a yearbook day. Their graduation ceremonies, if they had them, were so different, and we just wanted to recognize that fact. And let the graduating class of 2020 know that even though this is a difficult circumstance, we just have such full confidence in their ability to continue to on their path to be the leaders that Utah needs in the future. Many of these graduates will be board members and legislators and teachers and business owners in the future. And we just wanted to let them all know how much we appreciate what they did, and that in lieu of some of those traditional ways that we mark those milestones, that we could at least as a state, as a legislature and the governor and the State Board of Education come together to show our appreciation and confidence in the class of 2020.
So very well said. And then we've had this working draft before us. And so board members, do you have any questions? The good senator on this, and then like the senator said, this does create an opportunity where the board could support this, and I could hear in the beginning support or ask at this time if there's anyone that wants to make a motion that the board support the concurrent resolution honoring the graduating class of 2020.
I'm fine. Let's keep praying. Yeah.
Okay, so hold it. Was that a board member weighing in on this? I could seek a motion.
Chair, I have a question.
Or we can get into some questions. Yes, Vice Chair Brittany.
Yeah, I was wondering if Senator Fillmore would be willing to just speak to the last part of the resolution where it's encouraging ceremonies at a later date. Just kind of the intent and what your thoughts are on that. Because you feel that what has been done isn't sufficient, or what are your thoughts? What was the purpose for adding that last portion? Thank you.
I'll go ahead and respond, Mr. Chair, if that's all right.
Yes, please. And
thank you, Ms. Cummins. It's good to talk to you. This was started, the draft of this was started before some school districts, launched kind of, what you might call drive-through graduation ceremonies. The point of this is really just to encourage local education agencies at their discretion, but it provides encouragement for them to do something to be able to mark this event for their graduates when that becomes possible. And I know that for some school districts that has already been possible, and they've already done such graduation ceremonies. Although I wouldn't be opposed if LEAs got together and decided, or schools got together and decided that they wanted to, when social distancing isn't quite the concern that it is today, to bring graduates together at the school for something that allows them to get together and say goodbye to each other, wish each other well in the future. So this resolution simply encourages schools and school districts and charter schools to find ways to accomplish that when restrictions are loosened to the point that that's possible.
You have a follow-up?
Thank you. No, thank you very much.
Chair Hanson, Board Member
Yes.
Belknap.
Board Member Belknap.
Yes, Senator Fillmore, I want to follow up on Brittany's question because I'm not sure that there's a school and or a district that hasn't done some sort of celebration already. And my fear is that we are now kind of telling them to do something where they've already either budgeted and or made the experience as good as possible. Is there a way to restate that so that it is not sounding like we expect them to do something?
Of course, there is a way. Would you, are you suggesting that we strike that paragraph, or do you have new wording that you would suggest?
Well, I appreciate that, Lincoln. I'm not sure because I don't have it right in front of me because I'm on the phone, but maybe Brittany could help me here that we either, I don't want to be presumptuous and say that this absolutely needs to be stricken, but I'm not sure that there's a district that hasn't done what they needed to already, and I'm not sure that there's a senior who wants to come back in August and try and figure this out again, or October. So, yes, if someone could help me with verbiage, I'd love that.
So let me, for the benefit of those that aren't seeing it on their screen, Board Member Belknap, it reads on line 51, be it further resolved that the legislature and governor encourage local education agencies to hold a ceremony marking high school graduation with when circumstances and guidance allowed. That's how it reads. It has the word encourage. It's not a shall or must or may. That was the direction.
I appreciate that. I just think, Dr. Dixon, maybe you could help me. Is there any school that you know of or can think of, or school district or charter that has not already done this celebration to the best of their ability for the years?
I am unaware of anybody who have not done something. I don't know if there are those who have something in addition planned. When plans were initially being made, I did hear a couple of charters and one district who was thinking about holding a date in the fall, but I'm not sure the status of that now. I've heard people being pleasantly surprised at how comprehensive the celebrations were. So we could easily survey LEAs to see if they're still planning on a later date or have the opportunity to. I think part of it might also be about funds, because I know that while they didn't have in-person, many of them did not have in-person graduations, they did have walkthroughs and a lot of things that cost them additional. There were additional costs associated with it, excuse me. So we could easily do a survey and find out.
Questions? Board Member Davis? Oh, no, I thought I saw a hand.
I was just going to say, I wish this came around about 2 months ago, because that's when there was the real quandary of do we celebrate or do we not? And I think it's pretty much done now. It's over. And I hate to send a message to LEAs that what they did maybe perhaps wasn't enough, and now they've got to figure out something else they need to do on top. I know in our area, even some people did fireworks and things. So I hate to send a muddy message. I just wish it was earlier on.
Okay, Board Member Marsh?
Thank you, Board Chair. I'm kind of in agreement with those Cindy and Board Member Belknap and them that have spoke earlier. The districts have gone overboard to do as much as they could to recognize them for the great work that they've done. I think one thing that, as I have viewed it, that kids miss, they say, well, we not getting what everybody else got. And I kind of reverse that and say, but you're graduating in a way that nobody has ever done before in their life and may never ever do again. This is like man stepping on the moon. Nobody's done that. You guys need to realize that no, you're not like everybody else. You're special. You're set aside. You're in the history books. But anyway, you're gonna have a lot of kids that are playing fall sports at colleges. You got kids that are leaving on missions. You got kids that are moving out of state to go to school, period. I just think it'd be really hard to encourage them to have something and then have it late enough in the year that some of the kids, or a good majority of them, are already gone and won't come back for it. So I would think that it would probably do good to kind of move that out of the resolution if we could, please.
So it seems like from line 51 to 53 seems to be the big question here.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I wonder if I could short circuit this by simply saying that perhaps a good way to change that, since events have kind of overtaken this drafting before our special session next week, is that we could just further resolve that the legislature and the governor congratulate local education agencies on the ceremonies they held marking graduation when circumcised. Right? We'll just change the wording to acknowledge the fact that these have already happened and thank the schools for doing so.
Thank you, Lincoln.
Yes. Thank you. So I guess the question is as Senator Fillmore is taking this with what he just stated, is the board in support of his last statement and the direction that he is going with this resolution? Vice Chair Brittany Cummins?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion, Chair.
Okay. Hopefully I can keep track of it here. Unless
Okay.
it's going to show up on the screen.
I move that the board support the concurrent resolution honoring the graduating class of 2020 with the suggested changes to line 51 to 53.
Second, Board Member Belknap.
Okay, discussion to the motion. I'm panning. I am not seeing any hands. So the motion before the board is that the board support the concurrent resolution honoring the graduating class of 2020 with the substitute changes to lines 51 from 51 to 53. Okay, we're going to vote on this. All in favor, please vote.
Board Member Belknap, aye.
Board Member Belknap, you're aye.
Yes.
Board Member Scott Hansen.
Also an aye.
Okay. Okay, the voting is complete, and it is unanimous. Is that how you see it, Vice Chair Cummins?
Yes.
Thank you, Senator Fillmore. Do you have a closing comment?
I thank the board for its comment. I think the resolution is going to be better for this, and I appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Take care and be safe.
Thank you.
Okay.